children, um, prostitutes, gang members, drug dealers, that kind of thing, because that's what we help with in the community. And as guardian angels, we're actively creating young role models in the street so that way young people can model of themselves to help others within their own situation and circumstances. We've changed from when we originally started to come from to the UK. I'm from the States, as you can hear by my accent. But over time, we made changes in order to be more engaged with the community, more engaged with youngsters. We do carry out safety patrols in areas where the police don't go. For example, I go down to Peckham, I go down to Brixton, South London. We go like all the way to Southend on Sea. We go to Manchester. We got chapters there where we go into neighborhoods that the police tell people to stay out of. And the reason being is I myself, I'm a father as well. So my children, when a little bit younger, they too had friends who were not quite the friends that you wanted to bring home, but nonetheless, they were the children's friends. So therefore, it is something that was helping me understand them even better. And listening to your story there, it's actually quite interesting because once or twice you still refer to him as your son as a child, because he's your baby. You know what I'm saying? He's your child. And a lot of times as parents, we do that, not realizing when you said in the beginning, when you were speaking to the police that he's an adult, they can't give you information. In one sense, they're absolutely right. It doesn't matter what his mental mindset is to us, but on the side of the law, when it comes to certain acts being carried out, when it comes to certain activities that people are involved in, they're no longer that child that we hold on to. Yesterday, I was speaking to an 11-year-old who's pregnant by her uncle. So she had to run away from home. So what has lockdown done for her mental health? Well, she was locked in with the man who was abusing her, and then she had to run away. She's now living in the streets near Waterloo Station as an 11-year-old. But trust me, when you see this girl and you speak to this girl, she's she's been exposed to so much. There's no child left inside. So when we approach children or young people, we have to be very mindful of the experiences they have before we can actually determine how we're going to help them. And what's helped me being in the streets and helping young people. Myself, I was homeless for a while as well, even as a guardian angel, even as ex-military. I'm ex-military. Even I found myself as someone who had a high class income, good job, good everything, fantastic family. I found myself on the streets too. So I had to come to terms with a different reality. So we're talking about now COVID, lockdown. What is lockdown? How does it affect people on the mental health? Wow, it affects people on so many levels, but those who are outside are affected differently as well as those who are inside. Now, Yvonne mentioned, for example, she has a young man in the family who doesn't listen. And that quite often happens as well. You can have the best family in the world, you can have the best upbringing in the world. It makes no difference. Once the person makes a decision, a conscious decision to be a certain way, the consequences follow from that. And it's the understanding that we as parents have to have. What did we say last time, Margaret? It takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
Right? It's, as we have to draw together on people's experiences, like Yvonne's experiences, Scott's experiences, Marcus' experiences. Yemi had really good presentation, and I know she speaks from experience too, because she talks to people and she can share that experience that we can all learn from. And then we can address them in a different way, because we're probably doing something that we think is right. Traditionally, this is what we've been taught. We're of an older generation, but the younger generation think different. Everything is instantaneous. Then it's like a microwave lifestyle. Everything has to be done now. So when we want patience, understanding, and why aren't you not listening to me? Oh, if your grandfather only knew. Oh, if your mother only knew. They don't get that. They don't want to get it. And in some ways they don't have to, because some way we have to find a middle ground that we can work with, because the younger generation thinks much faster than we do. I mean, perfect example is you give them the mobile phone. You can't even figure out how to get into the calendar, an address book, and they do it in 2 seconds. Done. You forget your password, you figuring it around for minutes and minutes, 10 seconds later, they've undone it because they think faster, they react different, they respond different. The music is different. Remember back in the days when you were young, and the oldest used to say, that's not music you're listening to. What are you doing? What are you dressing? And now what are we doing? We're doing it to our children, and they're going to do it to their children. But unfortunately, we find a lot of times young people are now teaching young people to be parents when they themselves are young parents and they have no experience. Because look at it. Where are the men on this talk right now?
Mm-hmm.
Where are the men? Where are the elders? There aren't any. So what are these young people learning from? They're learning from single moms or single dads. I was a single dad for 8 years with 2 daughters. And so where's the community? Where's togetherness? Where's teaching the community being together kind of forum type of thing. Where is it the same mother and father, uncle, auntie, go to your grandfather if you're not listening to your father, go to your older brother. There's nothing, none of that's there. So the mental health is affected on many ways, not only for the young people, but it affects us too. Because now look at one, it affects you. You're sad, you're angry, you're confused, you're upset because of the actions of somebody else who doesn't care. And it's not that he doesn't care, he just thinks different than you. So what we have to do is find somebody with the same level of mindset that can actually talk to him. Who can you talk to? Has he got a friend, an uncle, a brother, a cousin? The lockdown has divided us from people that we usually speak to. What used to be a safe haven, going to school, going to work, hanging out with friends. Now you're forced to be with the family or the people in that household that could either be harming you or they're loving you, over loving you, and they don't know how to reciprocate that. They have no runaway space for it. So what do? They physically run away or they physically leave the space. Yemi made a good point about creating a safe space in the house. That works for some. It doesn't work for all. I mean, in the end, when I lost my family, there was just 10 of us in the same household. It wasn't working with 4 different nationalities. It was like United Nations gone wrong. And so there was like cultural difference, there was age difference, there was interest difference. There was like, where's my space? Why do we need to? It was a chaos. So the mental health affected us all, and we all have to adapt. In the army, we used to have this saying that says, adapt, improvise, and overcome. And I've lived my life by that slogan. So I adapt to the situation. It's COVID now. Okay, what do we do? We deal with another pandemic. We had SARS, we had bird flu, we had swine flu. We just adapt to it. We improvise with the skills that we have, and then we overcome by learning from each other. And I'm so grateful that Margaret actually gave me the platform here for a couple of minutes to speak, because that is another way of like, you guys can plug into somebody who's got a different point of view. Forget the fact that I'm white or I'm a male or whatever like that. Well, I've got experiences that could help out. My daughters, for example, are from Nigeria. My son is Jamaican. So there's a culture thing there. So, but we all learn, right? So there's differences within the family that sometimes go right and sometimes go wrong. Why? Because there's a cultural aspect. And how do we let outside influences tell us and dictate us how we as parents should raise our children? And what happens then is not that you're a bad mother, Yvonne. It's just that outside influences got in the way of the way you were teaching. And then friends got involved, school got involved. School is one of the biggest places where influence can go, it can go wrong. Then there's workplaces, there's friends, there's families. The people we see as, oh, you know what, stay away from that guy, he's a bad guy, stay away from that girl, she's trouble. Those are the ones they trust because they're on the same mental mindset. So I'm glad that we're actually here. We can actually find out from each other's stories. Ah, that worked for Scarf. Oh, wait a minute. Yvonne said something that reminds me of such and such. How can I help her? And then I can feed back to Margaret, say, Margaret, tell you what, I heard something that they said. How about we get together and speak about it this? I know 1 or 2 more people who may have something that can help. I know 1 or 2 people that might be interested in what Scott has to say. And like what I was asking Yemi is, she might have something to tell people that I know that I can't get through to because of the way I speak, the way I am. I'm from the States. I've got a push forward kind of mentality because I'm a kind of guy that gets things done. I look at solutions. I look at problems and solutions. I don't look at why a person is in a situation they're in. I look at how we can get them out of a situation. Because far too often society looks at like, okay, what started it? When you were 5 years old, when you were 7, oh, when uncle, and you know, it works for some, it doesn't work for me. So I have a different approach. And my approach works really, really well with a certain type of people, but not all people. So this way I can learn from Scott, I can learn from Yvonne, I can learn from Margaret, and we can all learn from each other. And then we can take that back and help somebody else who's not even connected to any one of us. Yes. And that can save somebody's life. One thing Yemi didn't mention is when they said self-harm, it's very unfortunate, being the person that I am and the people that I come across, we have witnessed 19 suicides in January alone. And this is from young people from age 13 to grown people into like 61. People who can't cope, people who don't want to cope, people who have no faith that it's going to work, that this is going to blow over. But for some of us who have been through this, we're from different countries, we've seen things worse than COVID. This is just what the media is hyping up. But it's bad, yes. But we've been places. I mean, I'm ex-military, so I've been to war. So we've seen different kinds of struggles, but we've overcome. We're all here today. So we all have experiences we can share that will save a life. If only that person would listen. That also starts with us. How do we listen? How do we know that somebody is reaching out to us? How do we know if our child's not trying to say, hey, Papa, I need to talk to you right now? And I'm like, you know what? Just give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. I got a phone call. I got a phone call. That is that moment that was most crucial for that child. And that child will never ask again because they know how it made them feel during that moment. So we have to be very mindful too. Your children, grown men now, they have another way of reaching out and asking for help. They may not say it to you directly, but they might do it by doing things in the house because they want you to respond in a certain way. Dirty laundry, dirty dishes, whatever. They don't want you to pull them up and say, what have you done with the dishes? They don't want that. What they want is to say, excuse me, how about you explain to me why you left it like this? And maybe you can come up with something together. You never know that might be the reaching out moment. You never know that, oh, they want to come to you and say, look, I had an experience with drugs for the first time and it's been a bad trip. How do they talk to you about it? They don't want to talk to you about it because they might get into trouble. They don't want to get scolded. They don't want to seem like, I told you that Jimmy guy, he was a drug dealer. They don't want any of that. So sometimes we as parents have to learn to listen too. But it's unfair for you to ask our children things like, okay, what do you want me to do? How the heck are they supposed to know? They're the ones that are confused going through things. So they need you to be the dominant, the alpha. They need you to be the parent for that moment to say, Mama, I need you to tell me what to do. Yes, he's a grown man, but you're still his mama. Yeah. You know, my daughters, they still call me Papa, and I love it in front of their friends. And the funny thing is, my daughter's name is actually Yemi. It's Omo Yemi, the youngest one. And I call her by her full name when she's in trouble, and her friends know, even though she's a grown woman now, they're like, uh-oh, your papa's talking, you know?
Yeah.
But then she knows so she knows
try and stop there a minute because we're going to go into the groups, and I'm sure if you go into the groups with the adults, you're going to probably share a bit more, as will Ska, and I'm not sure if Yemi's still on, but she may go into that group. So Mimi, can you assign us to groups? We're going to be in our groups until 8:20, so we'll probably be in there for about 14 minutes. Okay, I'm just going to say thank you very much for sharing, Marcus. That was excellent. I do think we need to, the scripture is iron sharpeneth iron. We all got our experiences. And if we bring them together, we're going to get the right solution.
Right.
Yes.
In terms of the rooms, how would you want them assigned?
Right. I think most people want to go into the adult groups, but Rashidat Musa, I'm not sure if she's got a young child with her. If Vils can go into the group with the children as well, and Galaxy 9, they didn't they can go into the children as well.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so Galaxy.
So we're going to go into groups and then for about 14 minutes, and then we're going to come back. So please continue sharing in the groups as to what we can do to improve our mental health. And yeah. Okay. Are we in groups? Okay. Right. Whilst that's happening, I'm just going to just mention something that Yemi had shared. If you're still on, are we in the groups yet, Mimi?
Yeah. People have started the groups.
Great.
You can choose whichever room you want to join. I just sort of split it 50-50.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. So I'm in this group and you're going the other group, yeah?
No. So we're not in groups yet. So you have to click join, Yvonne. You're currently assigned to youth and young adults.
Okay. Yvonne, what group do you want to go into? I can't hear you.
Adults. Adults. Click join.
Yeah, what group do you want to go into? I think you're in. Huh? Yvonne, what group would you like to go into? Okay. Okay, let's just stay in this group because the time's going. Other people in the other group, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, she's gone. Okay, sorry, can I ask you to unmute, please? Is it Rashidat?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it looks like there's only 2 people in this group. Is that me, you, and Rashidat?
No, we are not in a group yet. We need to click join. And
how do I click join? Just
click,
put us into the children's group. I don't know how to click join. Can't find it here.
So look at the breakout rooms icon, because we're hosts, so we don't get assigned to any room. So if you click the breakout room, yeah, and then right next to children and young adults, if you scroll to the right, you should see the blue join.
Oh, I can't find it. Let me see.
Yeah. So you know when you click breakout rooms, you see children and you see adults, right?
No, I can't see anything at the moment. It was up there before, but I can't see anything at the moment. Just assign us. I can't see anything.
Somebody closed the breakout rooms and it was not me.
Maybe it was me. I don't know.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay. Oh, I know. Go to breakout rooms. Yeah. So what do I do? Click. Where am I?
So I have to open the breakout rooms again.
Right, so
once they close and everybody reconvenes, I'll have to reopen them. But as hosts, we just click on the breakout rooms and we choose which one we want to join.
Okay, so if I've clicked on, but it doesn't see that I'm in there. I've just clicked on the children adults one. How do I know?
Why did it call me back?
Did I call you back?
Yeah.
Is everybody back?
Almost.
I think I'm the only one back.
No, they'll be back. Everybody will be back in 10 seconds.
What, don't close it. We'll leave it because this is just too much. We'll leave it. I think everybody's back. Sorry about that.
Everybody's back.
Yeah, everybody's back. Some of us weren't assigned. So let's have the discussion all together. Okay. In the adults group, had you started your discussion? Had you started?
I think Marcus was carrying on, continuing. We're sharing when. So we had started.
Okay, so you had started. All right. I'm just going to stop that a moment. Rashidat, I'm not sure where she is. Is she still there? Or is she gone? Oh,
yeah, I can see her name.
Yeah, ask to unmute. Yeah. Yeah, we're all together. Rashidat, can I ask you to unmute? I just want to know if you had a question. Okay. All right. While she's preparing her question, yeah. So, Marcus, tell us some experiences you've had when you've been on the streets with some young people. You have mentioned that there have been quite a few suicides with young people, but what other experiences have you had of young people on the streets, and how do they cope?
The coping mechanism on the street is slightly different than in the house, because obviously they're exposed to more dangers than they would be at home.
Yes.
So they have to adapt and learn different ways to deal with things. But the reason a lot of them are out on the streets is because they don't find safety or solace or comfort at home. Mm-hmm. And even though some of the homes are pretty good, they feel like they're being pressured, because even though before the lockdown, some people wouldn't even leave the house. They always just want to stay in the room. They want to lounge out. But now when they're told they have to stay, suddenly the rebellious thing kicks in and they want like, well, wait a minute, you can't tell me where to go. I don't have to stay in. Yeah. But yet when they go outside, there's nothing for them to do. And so they create things for them to do, or they hang around with people who may not necessarily be the type of person that you would want them to hang with. And they themselves don't know that, because they may have been at home for a while. They may have experienced a good home living, and then suddenly they find something that's new, that's different, and is challenging, and wow, I want to do this. And then they can fall into something really dark and deep, not knowing it. And then there's a hard way to get out of that. We're having a lot of homeless people now with the government. You know what? The government is saying that, oh, they're giving homeless people inoculations and vaccinations now and blah, blah. That's such a lie. I'm on the streets every single day, and they are giving vaccinations.